Well, guys, welcome back to the Rockford Ordinance, and welcome to Coffee and Kalashnikovs for November 22nd, 2022. We are here to take your live chats and turn them into a gun show. It's all about firearms, everything from AKs to ARs and everything in between. Throw in a little Second Amendment, a little news, a little this, a little that, and you got one great firearm live stream. So we are ready when you are. We had a little problem earlier, and we're just waiting on a few people to pop back in here, and we will get a move on. So let's give them a second. I see I got a couple people in here already, and we'll get going here. Oh, we got 4 already, and it's moving up. So give it a second. Let everybody catch up. I'm sure this is much better. Whenever that happens, it kind of coincides with someone in the household ramping up their downloads or streaming of some sort. Because we've got 5G. I've got that new Elon Musk Starlink system, and it rocks pretty good. But once in a while, we have a problem. I'm going to wait for a couple more people here, and then we'll get a move on. I'm sorry. I apologize for it. But give it 30 seconds here, and we'll get moving. That's a problem. Out of peach Red Bull already. We'll move to coffee. I run on caffeine, guys, and lots of it, let me tell you. Anyhow, well, we got a few people in here, and the counter's never right. There's always more. It shows low, and I click off when I'm done, and there were all these people in here watching. So there's a lot of people that skulk in here and or just aren't logged in, so there's a lot more viewers than you think. But anyhow, welcome back to the Rockford Ordinance, and welcome to Coffee and Kalashnikovs for November 22nd, 2022. And welcome to the best firearm live stream on YouTube. Reason being, we go over here to the live chat right over here, if you can see it, and start chatting away. Although, why don't I have any live chat? Why can't I say anything? Oh, there it. Oh, it's there. Okay. But go in there, chat away, and we make a show out of your chats. We talk about what you want to talk about. We answer your questions. We talk about everything from AKs to ARs, everything in between. Throw in a little Second Amendment, throw in a little firearm news, products, reviews, talk about upcoming videos, past videos, whatever you want to talk about. And we have a great time doing it. But the chat is what makes it. This is your channel. You guys run it through the chat. What you want to talk about goes. So throw it in there. A lot of news this week, huh? We've got a assault weapon ban coming down the pipe next week. For those of you that don't know, Biden proposed an assault weapons ban quite some time ago, maybe a couple months now. It passed the House with a little help from some Republicans, of course, and it's up to the Senate now. Well, we didn't take the Senate, and this session expires in 2 weeks, so he's got 2 weeks to run it through. If it runs through, it's through. Who knows? Will we be turning them in? Will they be grandfathered? But I got a feeling he's going to pass it. I think he probably has the support. And the thing is, they only got 2 weeks to do it, because if they don't get it done in the 2 weeks, it's all gone. Now it's got to start over next session, got to go back to the House. And of course, hopefully they're not going to win it in the House, because we have the House now. But there's this 2-week danger zone, and God only knows what they can ram through. So your telephone calls, emails, all that good stuff helps. Even if you're writing to the Democrats, just get on it. I'm not going to harp on it. I've had enough harping. You guys know what to do. Do it, because it could happen. Yeah, sure. Will it be go to Supreme Court, this and that? It takes time, sometimes years, sometimes decades, right? How would you like to have to turn everything in and walk away? Everybody's got their line in the sand, right? I know what mine is. You have to make yours up individually, but let's just say I won't be making a trip anywhere. But what are you going to do? So we got that going on, and it's just so happens it coincides with just a plethora of mass shootings. You know, those just pop up like popcorn when something like this is coming down the pipe. It amazes me. Somebody once said that once is a coincidence, twice, probably not, three times, definitely not a coincidence. Take it for what it's worth. You know my thoughts on the subject, I think. Yeah, not saying they didn't happen. They happened. It's just a matter of who's doing them. Yeah, who knows, right? Anyhow, I don't know if filibuster gets us there anymore. Does it? I don't know. Yeah, I guess the new one. I don't know. Who knows? I am not a Second Amendment channel. We have friends like 2AEDU. He covers that. I do my best. I try and back him up, but I don't have all that information rolling off the end of my tongue like he does. One other thing, one of the greatest channels on all of YouTube or anywhere is a channel by the name of Guns and Gadgets. If you've never been over there, please go over there. Yes, it's a Second Amendment channel. However, it's very entertaining. He puts out 2, 3, sometimes 4 videos a day. They're all short, concise, to the point. They won't bother you. But he tells you what's going on. Guys, if this is your hobby, you need to know what's going on. I got a lot of friends love guns. They have no idea what's going on in the 2A world. So go over there. You'll learn something. You'll learn what we're up against. I got a buddy. I'm not going to name him because he doesn't want to be named. But I said, why don't you come on the channel tonight and watch? And he says, well, I don't sign in. I don't want him to see what videos I'm looking at for obvious reasons. And I told him, I said, let me ask you this. You own a gun. You buy guns. You got ammunition. All that good stuff. You do background checks. They know what you're looking at. They know what you bought. They know what you have. Get it out of your mind that they don't know. There's a registry, guys. They've proved it. There's a registry. They know exactly what you have. So whether you're logged in, chatting, saying something or nothing, they already know. So man up. Man up. That's all you can do. Don't worry about it. You're on many more than one list. You're on more than 10 lists. I guarantee you. If you're here on this channel, you're on lots of lists. We should have a contest. Who can be on the most lists? That's a good list to be on. The guy on the people on the most lists list. I'd probably be up there somewhere, I guess. I guess most people think if you're on a list that you're probably Looney Tunes anyways, but I don't think anybody on here is Looney Tunes. I just think we're very patriotic and we follow the Constitution, the founding documents, and the founding fathers. That's it. We love our country. We want it to be how we want it to be, how the founding fathers framed it. That's what we want. We want to be able to own, enjoy, shoot, defend, protect our family, our country, our people, our way of life. That's all we stand for. We're not dangerous at all. We're not the people to be afraid of, are we? Unless, of course, you don't want to follow the highest law of the land, and that's the Constitution. Then maybe you take your chances. I don't know, right? That's all we're here to do. We are the utmost supporters of our government. A proper government elected by we the people, and one that confirms our rights, not gives us our rights, but confirms our rights. That's what we stand for. Anyhow, enough of that. You guys know what's going down there, but go over and check out Jarrett on Guns and Gadgets. It's a great channel. He's got 500,000 subscribers. He put a challenge out. He hit it. He just put another one out. He wants to be at 1 million subscribers. Go over there, subscribe, click the bell so you get notifications. You get them all day long, 3, 4 videos. You'll know what's going on in 5 minutes. And it's really cool. It's not just national, but state by state. So if something's happening in your state, you don't know about it, it'll be there. We've got the arm brace thing coming down too in about 30 days. God knows what's going to happen with that. 40 million of them, they say, could be out there or more. 40 million felons overnight. some multiple felons. I don't know how many felonies I'd have if they put that into effect, but more than five, let's say that. Maybe more than 10. I don't know. Maybe more than 15. I don't count. I just enjoy. But what are you going to do? What are you going to do? Turn them in, bust them up with a hammer, uh, do their amnesty program and register it. They'll waive your tax, by the way. Wait a minute. It's a tax. I've always been raised to believe that rights can't be taxed. So how does that work? It doesn't. That's the thing. Bruin has that decision is a masterpiece. It says that there no gun laws are constitutional. Zero. Nothing. It all comes down to the word of the Constitution, history, right? In history. Back then, when it was founded, well, I've never seen a word written back then about arm braces or how many rounds you can have in a magazine or anything else. It could be like Oregon. You could vote to have your rights taken away. That's what they did. They walked in the box and they checked it and went, yep, take away my rights, please, and quickly. I don't want them anymore. Take them. They're yours. Can you imagine these dumb... I can't even believe that people in today's day and age, with all of the information out there right in front of you, would literally vote to have their rights removed from them. That's what they did. It's unreal. Anything over a 10-round mag, gone. Assault weapons, gone. Got a Glock 19, 17. Too many rounds. You can't have it. We don't want to have it. Please take them. We don't want them. They're dangerous. They scare me. I don't know. Let's see who made it back here. Let's check the chat real quick and we'll get moving. Right? MZ, first one in this time. Whoa. Ross, he's back. Good to have you, Ross. Gort's here. All good people. I love my Michigan people. You know, there's places you feel at home. I lived in Illinois for a lot of years, and I guess when I was younger, I felt at home there, but never felt at home. I remember all those years crossing the border to go either vacation or to families' houses or then to my house. I'd cross that border and it was like, oh, I'm home, relief, right? You just didn't feel like you had that omnipresent on you all the time. And Michigan feels that way to me too, because I spent a lot of time there. My mother's born and raised there. We've got family there. UP, we're Upers. Yep. My dad always says that's why my mom's got a little dish in her nose, that all the Upers got these little teeny noses up there. I don't know how he got that. That's just what he says. Anyhow, I'm a Uper. I went to college there. Went to Fair State University, Big Rapids, Michigan. Go Bulldogs. I loved my time there. I loved my friends there, my fraternity brothers, my school, my hunting and fishing. What a place to go to school. We had the whole state forest there, national forest. I bow hunted every single day of the season. I rifle hunted. We bird hunted. We fished. We fished, man, oh man. I guided wilderness canoe fishing and hunting trips for a place called the Sawmill Canoe Livery. I knew the owner there. I worked in what a summer job. People went tubing, and I'd pick them up in a school bus afterwards with a big trailer behind for the tubes. And for one price, they could tube all day long. They get a smaller tube to hold a keg. By the second or third trip, the girls were so drunk they were half naked, and it was the most fabulous summer job you could ever have. We had a big fire pit outside after work. Everybody would gather around, drink beer, and customers, everybody had a loft bedroom upstairs in the livery. It was all rough sawn cedar, smelled great. It was wonderful. Had a bar next door, had the river right there. We were just below the dam, and we'd drink a bunch of beer. And then the owner was a Olympic canoeer or kayak or whatever, taught me how to paddle upstream, literally. Contrary to popular belief, yes, it can be done. You learn to read the water. And You use eddies and back currents to pull you up, and it's in a lot of cases it's easier than paddling downstream. Anyhow, we would get enough beer in us, and then we'd go paddle upstream to the dam and put the nose of the canoe right in the spray, and we'd sit there in an eddy and just sit there inches away from death, drinking beer. If you got sucked in, you were getting shoved down about 60 or 80 feet. Maybe it was over 100 at that point. At one point, the Army Corps of Engineers blew it up. They wanted to get rid of it. Yeah, they didn't do so good. They did a better job building it than they did trying to blow it up, because when they tried to blow it up, they didn't get it. And down below was all blown up cement and rebar. So if you got sucked down at a high rate of speed, you got impaled on rebar at a high rate of speed. Once in a while, some people would go over it. They couldn't read the signs about portaging around, danger, skull and crossbones, literally. And they'd go over it. Some would make it. Others would get sucked right down. And you'd watch it. And you'd start counting. And they're down 25, 26, 27. Yeah, they ain't going to make it. And some would never come up because they were stuck or impaled on something. Other times it would release them. They'd pop up alive, dead, in both ways. Sometimes the boats would come up. Sometimes they wouldn't. Sometimes they'd shoot them out a day later, a week later, a month later, find them downstream. People are really not too intelligent. Let's just say that. Like, you couldn't miss this and the signs and everything. Impossible. And we tell them not to launch, but for whatever the $3 or $5 it was to put in at our livery, no, they knew better. They'd risk their life. And sometimes pay with their life. A lot more than $5, huh? Anyways, great summer job. I drove the bus and I played mechanic on all the buses, and he offered for me to take it over and buy it from him on payments. He was going through a divorce and leaving and wanted me to take it over and run it. And that would have been my life, my career. I'd still be living in Big Rapids running it. And well, hopefully. My daughter went to Central Michigan for all this is for you Michiganders. So sorry you guys put up with it for a minute. Went to visit her senior year, and we took a drive down to Ferris. It's only about a half hour or so. And showed her around where I ate, where I lived, all that stuff, and went to the canoe livery expecting to show her this cool place. And it was closed down and overgrown with weeds, and the counter, the doors there were blown in. You could look inside. It was a shame. It was very sad. I've got pictures of me, and maybe I'll throw them in a video one of these days, standing in front of it. But the sign's still there. The river's still there. The half blown up dam's still there. The bar's up and running and going. Probably would have ended up owning that too, because that was it wasn't a package deal, but it was, I don't know, weird situation. Went back there a few times after college, took some friends on long 4 or 5 day canoe trips. It was on the Muskegon, but we did other trips on the Pigeon and a bunch of other stuff. A lot of whitewater, stuff like that. I'm pretty good. I was pretty good in canoes, rafts, stuff like that, but a little out of practice. I've done some in Tennessee. If any of you know the KOFFEE, there's a Olympic training center there for kayaks and stuff, and some pretty good water there. And I've got my son of my sister-in-law works for a livery there and does some cool stuff. So we've gotten to paddle together a few times, and it's just a ton of fun. But anyhow, going to Michigan always felt like home too, just like Wisconsin. I'd take either, frankly. Right now, with the governors, I'd take Wisconsin, and that's where I'm at. So happy here. Had deer season this weekend. So last year I did a video on what to shoot for deer season. So I've got a 30-30 that I've hunted with for, I think, 30, I figured it out the other day, 32 or 37 years. 35 years minus 1 last year. And the reason I didn't hunt with my 30-30 last year is last year my son was supposed to go with, and he didn't have a deer rifle yet. So I was going to pass down to him my 30-30. and I had gotten a 45 Colt Henry lever action that I was going to hunt with. So I was going to give him that for deer season, and that would be his gift. It'd be his. My father gave it to me. I'd give it to him. Unfortunately, we lost him before deer season came around. So when it came up, I thought, well, first I'm just going to hunt with my 30-30, and then I thought, no, wouldn't be right. I'm going to stick to the plan. So I hunted with my 45 Henry long Colt, and didn't get a deer. Frankly, didn't put a lot of effort into it last year. Just wasn't up to it. I was up there by myself and just used the time for me time and reflecting on me and him and everything we've done together over the years, including this channel. He's the one that urged me to do the channel. He's the one that talked my wife into purchasing the first camera for me to do it. And we had talked about it, starting a channel, that is, ways back before that. Christmas morning came, and I can always guess my gifts. I look at the box. I don't even have to usually pick it up. Once in a while, pick it up, hold it, shake it, feel how heavy it is, and I guess what it is. It drives my wife and my daughters nuts because I'm right every year for every year of their lives. I've done it, and I've been right. And I shouldn't do it because it disappoints them in a way. And they've been trying for years to not have me be able to guess it, but I just do. Anyhow, this was the first year I didn't guess it. I had no clue. And I open it up and it's this camera, and I'm thinking, okay, well, that's cool, but I didn't ask for a camera. What am I gonna? Oh, thanks. Yeah. And my son must have saw the look on my face. He said, "Don't you remember, Dad? We talked about a YouTube channel, and you thought it'd be really cool to start a gun channel, and I know how much you like it, and you're good at what you do, and I think your channel would do well, and it could lead to a business, and yada yada." He was an entrepreneur. He wanted to go into family business. He thought big though. Where I thought gun shop, he thought manufacturer, and wanted me building. We had a manufacturing plant at the time, building wood products, but he wanted to really get into it and have a huge legacy passed down business. Anyhow, he reminded me, "Don't you remember, Dad?" And I said, "Oh yeah, that's awesome." So that night I went out in the garage and started messing around. I learned a little bit about the camera, and I went out to the shop and thought, well, I'll do it here in front of my bench and whatever. And the rest is history. I picked up some software to do the videos and figured it out on my own. And it's still not great, but it's okay. And I can do them fast enough, I guess. And the rest is history. He helped out with camera work, with shooting. He's in a bunch of them. I did a video in honor of him, the guns he had acquired throughout his short 23 years. And I always thought one day, well, he'd take over the channel. But that's why last year I hunted with the 45 long Colt. So this year came around, I thought, well, I've hunted 32 out of 33 years with my 30-30. And I reloaded some really cool rounds. I finally got some brass, and I got some Leverushian bullets, 160 grain, and loaded up some rounds, and I went and shot them. And let me tell you, with iron sights, man, that gun is accurate for what is. The gun looks brand. I'm going to do a video on it tonight. It's Winchester 94, nothing crazy. It cost me $99 at Kmart. Actually, my dad, he bought it for me for my 15th birthday. And it's a great gun. It looks like the day it came out of the box. I protect that gun like you wouldn't believe when I'm out in the woods. It's taken a couple spills, but somebody's been watching over it. I got a couple freckles of rust once, but they're gone. We got them out, and it didn't affect the looks. The gun's perfect. I could put it in the. I still have the box for it. $99 at Kmart. And talk about accurate. Somebody asked me the other day what I thought about Winchester for a lever action, 30-30. And I answered them. I said, you're not buying a Winchester. You're buying a name, because that's all that's left of Winchester is a name. The name's been bought and sold, and the guns are made. They're not made in Connecticut, that's for sure. And there may be a Winchester headquarters somewhere, but they don't make their guns. They have that special 18. I don't know if it's a 94. I think it's an 18. Oh, I don't know, but it's made by, and I want to say Marui, but it's not. It's something close, in Japan, and it's got case hardening and everything. The gun is absolutely stunning, beautiful. I want one. I've come close to getting one a couple of times at auction. You can buy them brand new, have your dealer order them, but they are gorgeous. But make no mistake, they have the Winchester name on them, but they're not made by Winchester. They're made in Japan, of all places, and that's a quality gun. But their shotguns, all their other stuff, it's just a name, guys, built to put on Turkish guns, Russian guns. Well, maybe not anymore, but wherever they're being made, they're just putting their name on them. And the quality in some cases can be good, in some cases can be questionable. I can't speak to Model 94 today with their name on it. I don't know, maybe some of you guys know, but it's certainly not the Model 1894 that guys like me grew up with. And, we had a cutoff before. It was 1963. Everybody said, well, anything after 63 is junk. They cheapened them. They put some cast parts in there. The bluing's not as nice. Alloy receivers, they don't blue right. On and on and on. And I'll agree with them. The 63, prior to 63, they're a finer gun. But mine is probably a 70 something. No, early 80s. And yeah, the bluing on the receiver is not that nice. It's the base model. There's no checkering. There's no nothing. It's walnut stocks, blue. I got a half cock on it. Where is it? It was just, it's in the other room. It's a nice gun. Side load, side gate, and hooded front sight. Nice gun. Yeah, the bluing looks a little strange on the receiver because it is an alloy, so it doesn't blue perfect compared to the barrel and stuff, but it's still nice. Way better than anything made today, that's for sure. Hard to find a blued gun today. Find me a blued gun with walnut. Super hard to find. They may be coated in some vapor process, or a Cerakote or a Duracoat that looks like bluing, or a nitriding, or this or that. But to find hot bluing today, you can probably name on one hand. Well, I'll give you two hands to name 10 guns that you can buy brand new right now, current production, that are blued and walnut. Start naming them if you can. And I know there's a few, but most are probably a lot more money too than your basic, what your Remington 700s used to be and stuff like that. It's hard to name them. I love, don't get me wrong. This channel's founded on tactical guns, right? AKs and military style weapons. A lot of bolt action guns is about as close as we would have probably gotten had I not branched out into other things. But it's other than, those guns from prior decades up and through maybe the 80s, there's not a lot out there anymore. I mean, look at a 1022 today that everybody grew up with, right? Okay, blued barrel, but receiver, trigger group, plastic. It's just hard. I'm looking at a rack right now. My son's 870. He's got an 870 Express. It's laminate wood at best, plastic trigger guard on it, and the receiver and barrel are coated in some type of Cerakote, black Cerakote. And then I look at my 870 with its burled walnut and its deep, rich bluing, and it's just stunning. Or I look at my dad's 357 service revolver and the bluing, your jaw would drop. And it was just a service revolver. It was nothing special. It wasn't a pro shotgun or anything like that. It was his service weapon that sat in his holster for 25 years and has some marks to show it, which is a crying shame because it's so blue. It's like looking into outer space, like blue velvet. It's so clear and just maybe what comes to mind? Maybe a Colt Python, maybe um, some finer hunting guns, maybe Beretta. I don't know if, well, no, I don't think Remington's making any top end blued shotguns anymore, considering the bankruptcy and all that. Think about it. I bought a CZ side by side hunting shotgun, and it looks blued, but it's some type of vapor coating, more rust resistant than bluing. They tout all these, pros and talk about bluing like it's garbage, but none of them compare. None of them compare. If you guys don't own at least one firearm in your collection, I don't care if it's a pistol, a rifle, or a shotgun, that has, and I don't mean just crappy industrial military bluing, I mean a polished blue with fine US walnut, you don't know what you're missing. And they can still be had at a fairly decent price. Smith Wesson revolvers, the old stuff, even the new stuff, but the old stuff, yeah, everything's collectible. Everything, right? We talk about what's collectible and what's affordable these days. AKs sure aren't. I hear, oh, by the way, if some of you guys remember, I had my hands on a Tiger about a year ago. Buddy of mine saw it in the shop, and he says, I don't know what this gun is, but I know you've talked about it, and I've seen it with you somewhere. You mentioned something. I think you want to come see this. I walk in the shop, and I told him, a Tiger? Are you sure? Yeah, I think that's what it is. I walked in. There it is, hanging on the wall in a little podunk shop in the middle of nowhere, surrounded by cornfields. And I go, you gotta be kidding me. Somebody traded it in the shop. Didn't even know what they had. I think they were asking $2,000 or something for it. Mint. And I said, damn, I got no money on me. I said, talking to the guy, and the guy was a friend of my son's. And he says, I said, I'll run home, I'll grab a check, and I'll be back, or cash, whatever you want. I'll leave you a deposit. And kid said, no, it's no problem. It's yours. Just come on back tomorrow. We'll finish it all up. Done. So I go in, and the kid's not there. And I asked another guy there, I said, hey, I bought that Tiger yesterday. Just want to finish things up. He says, you didn't buy a Tiger. He said, it got sold on auction. Well, luckily I had seen it the night before, and they were canceling the auction. They relisted it and sold it out from under me. And I don't get upset about many things. I hit the ceiling. And I said, you didn't have a deposit. I said, that's because your employee, who I've bought guns from before, promised it was done. It was handled. I offered cash. And he said, no, don't need to. See you tomorrow at 3:00. And the guy basically treated me like garbage. He knew what it was. And he had a buddy coming in for it, is what it was. And they sold it out from under me. And I kept to my word. Although I would love to go back in that shop because they got a lot of cool stuff, I have not stepped foot in it. I have not spent one single penny there, nor will I. And I tell everyone I know that may frequent that shop or live around that shop what I think of them and what garbage they are. And maybe I should just say it here, but I don't know. Maybe I'll do a video on it one day. Anyhow, Any idea what a tiger's going for these days? Or even a Chinese, what are they, NMZs or something like that? How's 20 grand grab you? 25 grand. Things have went nuts, guys. If that's worth 25 grand, what's my Bakelite side folder worth? They were bringing 6 grand before the craziness. Uh, I don't even know, let alone one like mine where I've got 3 matching Bakelite mags, all the original flatback mags that came with it, all the accessories that came with it, the bayonet, the oil bottle, what else came with it? The cleaning kit, matching Chinese chest rig, all the stuff, everything, even the clip for the bayonet, which you never see. There were 3 different ones. One had a little mark on it of a butterfly. Another one was like a stork, a bird. And there was a third one, I forget what. Mine is the butterfly. And I have the clip. Go look on the internet right now. Try and find a picture of a Chinese Bakelite bayonet with that metal clip. You won't find one. If you do, maybe you'll see one. Guys didn't know what they were. They came separate from the bayonet. And when they saw this little clip, they tried to figure out what it is. They didn't know. They tossed it. They were junk. They bend open. Your bayonet would fall off your belt if you just pulled on it too hard. But I have it, I don't have the box. I have everything else. And it's only had a couple 100 rounds through it. I shoot it. I'll shoot it. You want me to shoot it? I'll take it out tomorrow and do a video on it. It's sort of a safe queen, sure, but I don't have a problem shooting it. Matter of fact, the last video I did, it was smoking. I'm not afraid to shoot anything. But that being said, what's that worth? And it's a Norinco. So there were less Norincos brought in than there were Polytechs. What's that make that gun worth now? If it was 6 grand before the craziness, 10? I don't know, 12, 15. Anybody see what one's going for lately? I haven't looked them up. I don't ever plan on selling it, but I'm just curious. If a Chinese version of the Tiger is bringing that kind of money, what are the real Tigers bringing like this one was? Insane. And what's funny, if you go to Russia or Europe for that matter, they don't treat those Tigers as anything special. They are sporting arms. You can buy them brand new right now, brand new with the furniture, everything, wood or polymer. They're nothing more than a hunting rifle over there. Yes, guys modify them. They modify them like crazy. Guys, if you saw what they did to these guns over there to make them precision target guns, from barrel work to chopping them to stocks to this to that, you'd have a court. You'd be like, oh my God, no, don't. Oh. But they don't think anything of it because they're everywhere and they're dirt cheap. They're not considered even that fine of a weapon over there. They're just in it's like a Remington 700 here, maybe. Not even as good as that probably. But yeah, they're everywhere. And I forget, a couple of years ago, I saw what the retail cost was over there. And it was around $1,000 or equivalent to 1,000 US, maybe less. And they can buy them all day long, any caliber you want, everything. And they customize them just like our precision shooters here do, bench shooters, And guys are like, holy cow. That's where all these furniture kits come from that you see come in. Legion's got them all over their website. And they're just takeoffs they probably buy out of Europe or whatever, or have shipped in, who knows. But yeah, you can buy pretty much any part off one. You just can't buy one, right? But I'm shocked that somehow, some way, they don't find their way into circulation here. New ones, that is. I'm sure they do. I mean, what's it take for somebody? Look at our border. You could bring a boatload of them over, right? Barreled receivers, at least. The rest of the parts you can find on at Legion or anything else and put one together. How hard would it be for somebody to step across the old Rio Grande with a barreled receiver and nothing else on it. Or bring them in by a truckload. Who knows? Hide one in a wheel compartment. Where there's a will, there's a way. Look at what else. They sneak in all kinds of contraband. Why wouldn't they do that? Because once they're here, they got a serial number, right? They're semi-automatic. What's the big deal if somebody built one in? It'd be no different than a parts kit, right? I'm sure it would have a serial number, although a strange one maybe, but once it's in circulation, private circulation, what's the difference? I guess. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong on that. But it would seem that that would be the case. And I'm surprised more of them don't show up. Maybe it's not worth the risk for a couple rifles, or maybe they're so cheap over there they don't understand that they'd be worth God knows what over here, right? Anyhow, yeah, that's how my tiger story went. And of course, now at the prices they're bringing, they are way out of my reach. I can't do that. There's no way. But that being said, I've got a lot of stuff that has gone up. My Vepers. Never in a million years did I think a Veper would be what it is, or even some of the Bulgarian stuff, or what else, or the side folder. It's crazy. I can't believe what my $99 SKSs are worth. I saw a Russian SKS the other day. Guy did a video, and or maybe it was on Chris's channel, Marksman TV. Somebody sold him a Russian SKS, and this one was as nice as they come, guys. It was cherry. This wasn't a refurb or anything. This was brand new production, brought in back whenever in the 70s, 80s. And this guy hadn't touched it. I mean, but it was weird. It was in not really as blonde as like a Chinese SKS, but a laminate blonder stock, right? And I had never even seen a Russian SKS with that lighter wood like that. I've seen new production ones. I've seen refurb ones. I have a new production gun, but mine has an Arctic birch stock in deep, dark, beautiful red shellac. A great picture of it is on my Instagram. If you go to my Instagram real quick, you can take a look at that gun. I do have some filters on it, but it doesn't change the color. Just changes the contrast a bit. But the color is gorgeous. When you think Russian red, this is true Russian red. And when it comes to AKs, the Russian red everybody thinks of or buys from some of these stock makers that put out a Russian red color. Guys, AKs didn't come in those colors. They just didn't. They never showed up here in those colors. Find a real Russian AK or a kit or something, and you find me one of these red stocks. They really don't exist. This color is the red that existed once in a rare, rare, rare batch. Most were, more of a traditional goldish, orangish shellac color. I told you the story of how a bunch of us kind of figured out where this red tint came from in the Russian guns, and that it's pretty rare. And because of the people involved in the research and the story, I think they're pretty accurate, because there is some surmising to the story. But I'll give you a brief digest of it here. So Russia being Russia and Russian people being Russian people, they're very utilitarian, right? Everything has a purpose. Everything is used or reused. Nothing goes to waste, right? In that economy, in a communist country, nothing goes to waste. There's even the waste product is used for something. So where some of the wood came from for these stocks and where the stocks were made, there were large furnaces, wood burning furnaces to heat the plants. And they would use the scrap wood and all from the stock production to fire some of these furnaces. And it was, this Arctic birch and whatever other trees in that area, that northern area, and they would burn it as fuel. Well, when you start burning pine and a lot of these northern hardwood deciduous trees, they're very, they're not, it's not like burning hardwood. There's a lot, it builds up a ton of creosote from the sap and the stuff in the wood. And they would have to clean those chimneys, of course, and they'd get that creosote out of there, and pine pitch, a lot of pine pitch, and they would use it to protect things like wood, seal things like almost like a caulk, or maybe chinking and siding or something like that on buildings, factories. But pine pitch was very useful to them, still is, was very useful to in this country, to the Native Americans, to us, all through the 17, 1800s, even 1900s. Use it on boats and everything. Anyhow, they had this pitch, and they developed it as a product to seal and protect wood, and it got mixed in with the shellac. And when you take creosote or pine pitch, that when you look at is black, it's as black as this shirt. When you dilute it, however, with alcohol, isopropyl alcohol, or whatever type of alcohol they use, it has a very dark, beautiful cherry red tinge. That's the actual color when you break it back down. And that's what got mixed in with the shellac and colored it. Or some thought is that they rubbed it into the wood and then shellacked over it. But a lot of guys were pretty sure that when they were mixing the shellac, because shellac comes from trees like that, it's the amber, right? It's the sap they give off. That's what shellac is. Most people think you buy shellac in a can, right? That it's just some kind of wood product sealer. Well, when you buy real shellac, you buy shellac flakes. So it's a dried flake. It's the actual sap or pitch or whatever you want to call it that comes out of the trees. And it's dried and it comes in flake form. You buy it by the pound, and you reconstitute it with alcohol, basically rubbing alcohol. And that's what makes shellac. So when you if you buy store-bought shellac like Zinzer or one of those, if it starts getting thick on you, pour a little alcohol in there. Be like brand new. If it's too thick and leaving brush marks, thin it out with some alcohol. If it's too thin, add some more shellac flakes. But that's how you mix up shellac. When I was doing stocks as a hobby, and I kind of made it a small business, I wasn't buying Zinzer shellac. I was mixing my own. And you can get different color shellac flakes, all different colors. Some are natural colors, others they tint it. But shellac can also be dyed with just about anything. I've told you guys before. So, my 9130s, the two that I redid, are colored with red Kool-Aid. Literally, that's what I used for a dye. Red dye, food dye, same thing, doesn't matter. I'm not talking the Kool-Aid you buy in the can with the sugar. I'm talking little packets that are just the flavoring. Tons of red dye in there. Pour a little of that in with your shellac, mix it up, and voila. There's your red shellac. Right now, it'll make it look like a red popsicle because it's that bright. But then you use other things. Iodine. Iodine's a great one to get a Chinese look to your shellac. Very orangish, blonde. There's yellow food color will do it, and you just add a drop of this, a drop of that till you get the right pigment. I've got some recipes written down that I use that, I finally get it just right. And as I learned real fast that as you're mixing, it's not, oh, a drop of that, oh, too dark, oh, a drop of that. No, 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 no. Because I'd get to the perfect color and go, okay, that's awesome. How did I do it? Don't know. And when it was gone, it was gone. So eventually I started keeping track of every drop I put in it, or every, tenth of a gram of Kool-Aid I added to it, or iodine, or whatever the hell I was coloring it with. And I found a product that's actually made in Russia, and it's a pine pitch product. Looks like tar in a bucket, and it's sold for waterproofing exterior wood. They on the bucket it shows using it on fences, fence posts, um, planting bed, wall, retaining wall ties, and all kinds of stuff. And it's made in Russia, just the way we're talking about, from pine pitch and creosote, and they turn into this product. And you can buy it by the gallon or 5 gallons. And I split a gallon with a buddy because a gallon would last you 20 lifetimes redoing stocks. And I can get that actual real Russian red. However, think about it. Think of all the kits you've seen, and any of the old Russian guns with wood stocks. You don't see that red. It just didn't happen. Now, I can tell you it happened on SKSs because I have one sitting here from Russia. Arctic birch, you can tell by the grain of the wood structure, and it's the most gorgeous red ever. Go look at the picture on Instagram. You won't believe how gorgeous. One of these days, I'm going to do a stock set for one of my Vepers. And I was big against it at first. When I first saw guys start to do it, but they were taking Vepr FMs and putting RPK wood sets on them, meaning the clubfoot stock. And then, I've put the hand guards on. That's the only thing that'll fit a Vepr is an RPK hand guard and gas tube cover, RPK wood. That's the only thing that fits it. You could take a regular hand guard and hog it out for the size of the barrel and the bulge receiver and all that. You can make it fit, but then they get real thin, and so the only way to do it right is an RPK handguard. And of course, then it's going to look like an RPK. But what is a Vepr FM? A Vepr FM is an RPK with a short barrel. That's all it is. Great weapon, right? My first AK and my favorites were M70s, Yugos, bulge trunnions. I love them. Guys get back, not so much anymore. You still hear it as a complaint, but back then, who wants a Yugo? All that weight. Oh, they're so heavy. That's all they talked about. Heavy, 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 heavy. Shut up already. Oh my God. I mean, ounces are pounds and pounds are pain and all the usual bullshit that you hear. And now, greatest weapon ever, the Zastava ZPAP. Okay. Well, they're finally learning what, a lot of us older guys have been saying all these years. They're great guns. Matter of fact, straight wall receiver guns, I hate the sound of them. They sound thin and tinny and clanky and like junk. My Wasser, I hate the sound of that gun. Like the gun. I can't stand the sound it makes when I rack it. It just drives me nuts compared to my M70. And that's always stuck with me. That's why I like the Vepr so much. It's fabulous, right? And short barrel. And to me, it's a perfect weapon. The only way to make it more perfect would be to make some mounts up or some rings to hold a cleaning rod. Because to me, that iconic silhouette, I think that one right there, is the cleaning rod hanging under the barrel, right? It's what gives it the look. Now, on the Mollet RPKs, of course, you have that. The handguards and the handguard retainer have the hole for it and everything, but we don't have the rings on these, on the Vepers, to hold the cleaning rod. Now, I've thought about getting an RPK ring and having it installed, or coming up with some type of aftermarket ring or clamp, having somebody machine it and market it to mount a cleaning rod on Vepr FMs. I think that would be the perfect gun. And I bet I'd sell a ton of them too. Somebody's going to take that idea and make $1 million. If one of you guys is a machinist and wants to make one, a barrel ring, a ring that would go around the barrel with the little ring for the cleaning rod to slip through, and want to send it to me, I would be eternally grateful. I would give you all the credit in the world on the video, and I'd promote it for you. And you or we could make a lot of money, I'm sure. Let me know. I also have another outlet I could approach for selling it retail too. An AK channel, not channel as in YouTube, but a channel in the AK community that I could get it to mass market with. So if one of you guys has an idea or can whip one up one day in your spare time and wants to send it to me, we could look into that. That'd be cool. But I thought, anyway, the first time I saw a clubfoot stock on a Vepr FM was Rob Ski on a video. For a little while, he was running a Vepr with that. If you go way back in Rob's videos, back early on when he was starting and doing his 5,000 round reviews, God, I miss those days, because it was like every couple of weeks you had a new gun being 5,000 round tested. Now you don't see squat coming through, right? There's not too many new AKs coming out. B, ammo is ridiculous. It used to be nothing to, 5,000 rounds of 7.62, whatever, Wolf, Tula, Golden Tiger, whatever, at $160 a case, 5,000 rounds, $700, $800, boom, whatever, done. Now, 2-3 grand to do a 5,000 round review. And I don't think Rob was given the ammo back then. I don't know if he is now, but back then he definitely wasn't. And back in the day when Veprs were still coming in, that's all Rob shot. Yes, they had a Wasser that was kind of his laying around, had it forever gun that if buddies came over, they were doing videos, somebody else would shoot the Wasser. Rob shot the Wasser a lot too. Back then, he would say the gun had 10 or 15,000 rounds to it. I can only imagine now. But he shot almost exclusively a Vepr. Other than doing tests and different guns, if he was shooting his guns, he was shooting a Vepr. He used to say in all those videos, his favorite rifle was the Vepr. And he used to tell everybody, grab one, guys, if you can. Grab one, worth every dime. Sure, if you can. He also touted the Wasser as the go-to gun. Get the mighty Wasser, right? And he was right. I mean, to this day, it's hard to beat a Wasser. You want an AKM cheap? Get a Wasser. It's a great gun. Been around forever. Can't wear them out. They don't break. They're better than ever. Back then, they were shit. And I mean, crap, aligned horribly, mix match. When I was buying mine, mix match parts. Some were old military parts, some were new production, and they'd throw it all together and you didn't know what you were getting. When you got one, it looked like it had already been used in boot camp for, I don't know, 20 classes coming through. All scraped up, scuffed up, old military wood. Mine came with old military wood. Nice. I got lucky. Nobody knew what they were at the time, but swelled, you knew what Russian swelled palm handguards were. But on a Romanian, you didn't know what a palm swell handguard was. it wasn't until later that I went, oh, that's a palm swell handguard I got with this thing. And a lot of people mistook them. They thought, oh, I got a palm swell handguard. No, you don't. That's what's left of after Century sawed the dong off and did a little sanding work to smooth it in, made it look like a bulged handguard. And a lot of people mistake their adulterated dong handguard for a palm swell handguard. I'm looking at mine right now because I took the palm swell off a couple of years ago and put a dong on it. And I've run it that way ever since. But back in the day, you couldn't give away dong handguards. If you went to a gun show, there'd be 55-gallon drums full of them. As many as you wanted, make them an offer. How much? Give me $1. $1, literally. For $10 to get you 10 of them. I'm not kidding. They'd give them away. You couldn't sell an AK with a dong on it if your life depended on it. I used to read the old Shotgun News, and there'd be 10 different versions of Romanian AKs for sale, right? Everything from their phony baloney skinny barrel wannabe RPK to the Wasser 10, the Wasser 1063. What was the other one? There were folding stocks. There were Wasser 1, 2, and 3, meaning the calibers, 7.62, 5.45, 5.56. Those guns actually ran back in the day, but nobody wanted them. Nobody wanted a 5.56 gun. Nobody wanted a 5.45 gun. They wanted 7.62, no dong. So Century hacked them all off. When they got here, zip, hacked them right off. Threw a Tapco trigger in them and shot them out in a box. So yeah, now I look at price of dongs and I'm like, what in the Sam hell? It's insane. So I grabbed a dong one day because it was cheap, because I refused to pay what they were getting. And this one's got a bunch of nicks in it, but it matches my original military wood that came on my Wasser 1063. Anyhow, how the hell did I get all the way to Wasser? Oh yeah. Rob used to shoot a Vepper, and he told everybody, get a Vepper. If you're entry level and that's all you can afford, get the Wasser. If you can afford it, buy the Vepper. Buy it, guys. You don't know when it's going away. It could be gone tomorrow, blah, 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 blah. And sure enough, bammo. And a lot of the Veppers that came in originally were slant cut receivers, and they were converted by lots of different places, either by individuals or Krebs. Krebs made a ton of Krebs Veppers, but they were all slant cuts. Would I like to have one? A Krebs? Sure, but it would bug me that it's a slant cut. He was one of the first guys to make a stock or a slant cut receiver adapter. Is the same gun? Yeah, it just came from a sporterized version with the hunting wood on it. Came in with either a thumbhole stock or a solid wood stock or polymer stock. Most were wood, I think. And wasn't until they came out with the FM series that you saw straight cut receiver Veppers. And when that happened, the gun took off, right? And yeah, great gun. Rob loved his 5.45 Vepper. Looking back, I should have kept one. I had one. I had two. I bought two. Plan was to put one away and then one to shoot. And I kept the one to put away, and I sold the one I shot because mags and ammo and partially not knowing enough, partially like everybody else. When you think Russian guns, you think 7.62 by 39. And now, knowing what I know and wanting to use one in 3-gun and whatnot, it'd be great to have a 5.45. And plus, back then, 7.6 was everywhere for dirt. A crate of 7.6 was dirt. You could buy 10,000 rounds for what you'd spend going out on a Saturday night, you know? insane. And that put a stop to everything when they stopped the importation of the 7.6. But hey, what are you going to do? But Rob always touted what a great gun. You put the weight of the Vepr, the heavy barrel, the thicker receiver, bulge trunnions with a 5.45, and shit, leave the muzzle nut. It don't matter. That gun just don't move. It runs just pop, 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 like running a AR. And put a muzzle brake on it. Oh my God, it's nothing. You talk about a fast, accurate gun. Holy cow. And you know what? 5.56 and an AK is the same. But unfortunately, I mean, there's some good ones out there. And the Arsenal is good. The Sam 5, well, except for mine and a bunch of others, few hundred or maybe a few thousand, beating themselves to death slowly but surely, like mine. Haven't done a video on it. Haven't called Arsenal on it yet. I'll get around to it. I hate when this happens because I sit and mull over, okay, how am I going to approach this? How am I going to approach it the right way to end up with the satisfaction I need from X company? What's my best plan of attack, essentially? Most guys just pick up the phone and, hey, Arsenal, yeah, this gun's shit. It's beating itself to death, and my bolt shot, my carrier shot, my trunnion shot, and I need a new gun. And they wait to see what Arsenal says. Me, I don't know if it's being OCD. I don't know if it's whatever, but I think over the situation in my head and strategies. And should I, approach it like this? Should I be a dick about it? Should I ask them for this? What if they say that? What if they won't do this? And essentially not wanting to get screwed in the end. And hoping in my head, back of my head, that it had never happened or maybe didn't happen. And I'm imagining it all. But yeah, I don't know what to do right now because there's several answers they could give me that just aren't going to cut it, and I'm not going to be happy with. I'm not going to be happy with putting an adjustable piston in the gun. I'm not going to be happy with them sending me a bolt and saying, it's fine. Here's your new bolt. Have a good day, or new spring, or whatever. To me, anything like that is simply a Band-Aid. You overgas the gun. And how do you do that? That's too big a hole drilled in the barrel. Simple as that. You drilled too big a hole or to match the weight of your bolt, carrier, and spring. So sure, you could say that, okay, this too big a hole we drilled can be straightened out by heavier bolt, heavier spring, whatever. No, this was the spec you had. And obviously it's overgassed. The gun needs to have a smaller port and use the bolt, carrier, and spring that are there. Maybe change the spring a little bit, fine. But essentially, it's drilled wrong. It's just drilled wrong. Why do they overgas AKs? Everybody know why? Well, it's the answer to why the AK is so damn reliable. You overgas it. It'll push through the mud. It'll push through the dirt. It'll slam a cartridge home when the mag's sticking, whatever. That's how you make a reliable gun. You overgas it to some extent. I'm not saying you can just gas the piss out of it and it's going to run. No, you can overgas it to the point where it won't run, and or beat itself to death like this one is. But that being said, a Band-Aid fix isn't taking care of it. It's covering it up. And you're paying the price somewhere else for that. Just because it's overgassed, so you put a heavier spring, that recoil impulse is not right. It's not going to be right. That gun should run light as a feather, really. Considering it being a milled gun and all. Frankly, I need a new gun. That's the only thing makes it right, in my opinion. With the correct gas port and new pieces, because the bolt is definitely shot to shit. It's angled out and it's horrible. It's getting ready to stick the firing pin and slam fire every time I use it. Which it's put way too much stress on the tail as well. It's way too much stress on the rear trunnion. All of it. It's all been pounded. It's been work hardened. It's junk at this point, in my opinion. So to send me a couple of parts, not going to work. Now, I'm not saying that Arsenal won't do that. I don't know. I haven't talked to him yet. Arsenal, as far as I've ever heard, is a great company. Whenever I've talked to them on the sales end of things or calling them for information, they've been helpful beyond belief, and just some of the greatest guys to deal with when I'm buying stuff from KALASHNIKOVS. They've been phenomenal. I love those guys. Probably why I have so many of them. But when something's available and they have all these different models and SKUs, you buy if you're a collector, you buy them all. That's what I do. And there's just over the last 10 years has been a shitload of Bulgarian guns. So I have pretty much all of them. All the SLRs, all the SAMs, every variation, So I don't know. I haven't dealt with them, though. I haven't dealt with many companies on warranty situations at all. Usually if something's wrong, it's minor and I'll take care of it myself. I don't want to send a gun away, go through the transfer hassles, shipping hassles, wondering if it got there, how long it'll be, being without the gun that I was so excited to get. I hate that. When am I going to get it back? What's it going to be? And maybe that stems from the old days of Century, when you'd hear the horror stories of guys sending stuff in and, their quote, and I don't mean this bad because Century's got a ton of good people and I'm sure they're fine, but everybody, it was a joke. Everybody would call them the Century monkeys, because they wallowed out a magwell or something. Well, whatever. There was a learning process here in the U.S. as AKs came in, and they had to convert them from single stack and all of that good stuff. So the early days, consider them learning days. You guys got it. You guys got the cat's ass right now. Everything's good pretty much that comes out. You don't have to worry about this stuff. Everybody's got it down. Zastava's got it down. Yeah, sure, things happen here and there, but it just, trust me when I tell you, it is light years better in the entire AK scene, because we understand how it's done, why it was done. They know it. They've done a million of them, and things are just much better. QC is better. The countries and factories and arsenals they're coming from understand the U.S. market better and what we expect. The U.S. customer is not third world country military that a scuffed up gun's okay. It doesn't matter what it looks like, it's how it functions. Well, here in the US, it's got to look pretty too, right? Because the average guy buying his first AK came from platforms like the AR or whatever else, and maybe only wants one nice representation of an AK, and he sees a Wasser or a picture of it and he orders one. It comes in and he goes, oh my God, is this like me? Is this a used gun? When I bought my first Wasser. They understand now what the American public wants, and they build it. Cougar's made leaps and bounds improvements. They're not completely there yet, but either is Arsenal. I mean, look at the paint issues they've had over the years. That continues to be seen. Look at a Sam 7. It's not the finest milling all the time. You'll see mill marks and all kinds of stuff. Now, I will say the guns that Arsenal or Fine Group or Kavar, whoever it is, put together out in Arizona, meaning you gotta understand, guys will buy an arsenal and think, oh, this came from Circle 10 over in Bulgaria. Well, maybe yes, maybe no. They'll advertise it and stamp right on the SAM receiver, made in Bulgaria. Yep, that receiver was made there, but maybe the gun wasn't. There's lots of guns in Arsenal's lineup that have a receiver made in Bulgaria, but the gun is built here. And I have to say, the Arsenal Las Vegas guns are some of the finest uh, AK rifles on the planet as far as fit and finish go. Um, you look at their receivers, even though they're the Bulgarians, they touch them up and they do their thing, and then they blue them blue them or paint them, parkerize them, paint them, whatever they're going to do. And they fit and finish everything else and every other part on it. And they're essentially a high-end builder. They're building on that receiver and building it with Bulgarian parts, but building it here in Las Vegas. There's a ton of guns. And anybody that knows Arsenal guns will tell you the finest guns that they've ever sold here in the US are Arsenal Las Vegas built guns, because the guys putting them together there pay extreme attention to fit, finish, quality, and the cosmetic looks of the gun, as well as everything else. And that's on top of what Bulgaria did in the first place on the receiver and all. But those guns are just fabulous when you look at one that's made in Las Vegas. And as far as current production right now, the underfolders, those guns, I should say the classic, the one with the slanted underfolder stock, those are all made in Vegas. Those aren't made over at Circle 10. A lot of stuff. Some of the RPKs were made here. What else? I'm trying to think. The 95, I think, was the 95 made there? I can't remember. Or the one, what was the other model? A lot of them were made here. And you can tell by how the gun's stamped too. Anyhow, getting back to where I started. I told you this goes everywhere and anywhere when we're talking AKs. The first time I saw clubfoot stock on a Vepr was Rob. He only had it on I think only one video, maybe two or three. You saw it, but it was kind of in the background. But I remember seeing that gun the first time, and I thought, oh, that's cool. I get where he's coming from, but man, that's ugly. That doesn't look right. He's not going to run that like that, is he? And I didn't like it. But over the years since I've seen that, it's been growing on me and growing on me and growing on me. And as much as I like keeping guns factory, I like upgrading them too. I got plenty of go fast guns, and I got plenty of stock from the Arsenal perfect collector, kind of thing. But I like having different things too. And when I do change a gun, I will never take an Arsenal built gun, not Arsenal Bulgaria, but any Arsenal, Zastava, and Zastava's. There's a fine line between Arsenal and military supplier, right? Or government supplier. Some are true Arsenals owned by the government, others aren't. But you would think they were. Anyhow, I will never take an original military gun and chop it or do it or make changes that can't be put back to original. But putting furniture on a gun certainly isn't changing it permanently. I can take that Vepr and put a stock furniture back on, which is all bubble wrapped and sealed and put away. Never throw out parts, guys. When you go to change a gun up, or some guys will buy let's say they're having a Zenitko cow, right? And I gotta have it. I need some Zenitko. Everybody goes through that stage. One day you'll turn around and laugh, guys. Go, I can't believe I paid for that crap. Not saying it's crap. I'm just saying you'll go through that phase of gotta have it, to could take it or leave it, or Jesus, why did I take a nice gun and make it so goddamn heavy? That's what I do. Um, but anyway, save all your parts. If you're going to put a different set of wood on, you're going to buy some, or you're going to buy, let's say, the military version of the SAM furniture, right? A lot of guys will plan, well, if I buy that, I can sell the stock stuff and recuperate some of the cost, so then I can get the muzzle brake or the. Don't consider the stock parts as offsetting your purchases. Don't do that, because trust me when I tell you, one day you will wish to God you had not sold that stock or that handguard or that pistol grip, for that matter. Not in a million years. I would, if someone said, make sure you save that Dawn. What are you, friggin' nuts? Get out of here. Never in a million years, guys, would we think people would pay for palm swell handguards and Dawns what they're paying today. People would have laughed you out of town. And you guys are probably doing the same to me when I tell you to save your parts. Well, what do you mean save the pistol grip? There's 40 billion of them out there. Really? Give it 15 years and then tell me how many of those. It might even be a USA made one, but it came in the box with it, and you may want it one day, because trust me, my Vepr is worth much more with its original furniture back on it, sitting in its original box, than it is sitting there with that Russian wood on it right now. Yeah, I have one Vepr that my fixed stock Vepr FM that has Russian RPK handguard and gas tube cover on it, and Russian AKM furniture that's been sanded to fit the gun perfectly, including the butt plate and all that stuff. So it looks like a fixed stock AKM, essentially. Well, it doesn't even look like that. The stock does. The rest of it doesn't, I guess. But with an RPK handgun, it looks like a shortened Russian AKM that's pregnant. I don't know. But that's what I wanted at the time. But I can pop that wood off, pop the polymer back on, put it in the box, and there's my brand new Vepr. And nobody's the wiser, because I use, and you guys will think it's silly again. I use my hollow ground gunsmith screwdriver to take it apart, so the screws don't get all bunged up and the paint's not chipping off them and the edges aren't smushed over on the screws. You'll never know that the stock was off the gun. But so there's my stock gun that's worth $6,000 versus one that's been messed with that maybe you get 4 out of or something. I don't know. Save those parts and don't just toss them in a drawer. Wrap them and put them in a Ziploc and then put them in a box somewhere where they're protected, because those polymer stocks, lay 2 polymer stocks together in a drawer and take them out 3 months from now and take a look at all the scuffs on them. Shit, take your new gun out of the box and set it in the corner, go to the range once, bring it home and look at the scuffs all over your stock. Looks like garbage. And I'm not just using that as an example. Any AK or any other military collectible weapon or any collectible gun, period, doesn't even have to be military. It's going to be worth much more with what came on it. Make sure you save it. Don't sell it off for a couple dollars, because you'll be kicking yourself later when you got to buy it back for 20 times the cost. And whether it's worth $1 today or $20 10 years from now, hey, it's still a difference. Save it. Change it. If you're one of those guys that wants to shorten something up, SBR it, do this, do that, major machining, different gas block, by all means, it's your gun. Do what you want. I'm not here to tell you what to do. What I'm here to tell you is one day you might just be sorry. You want something seriously custom, then build one. Get a receiver, Today, you can buy trunnions everywhere, individual pieces. Before, we had to buy kits and put it together, or buy several kits and pick and choose what we wanted. And then you were taking a nice matching kit and screwing that up, you know. Today, you can get AKM parts anywhere, whether they're Polish or US made or whatever. So you want to build some funky, cool gun you saw on a video, from one of these aftermarket manufacturers. Oh, look at how badass that thing is. Fine. Pick up the parts and build it, or have someone build it for you. And don't go screwing up a nice arsenal or factory made gun, because you will be sorry one day. I promise you. Take it from the old fart fud, whatever you think I am, and just trust me. Please trust me. And there's a lot of guys in here that can vouch for that, because I guarantee you, anybody over the age of 45 in here has kicked themselves in the ass severely over some screw up they did when they were younger, that if I had only not, or, and some will listen and a lot won't. And it's the same old story, can lead a horse to water, or, you try to make it's like dealing with your kids, right? You try to help them avoid the pitfalls you fell into. Do they listen? No. So maybe I'm just blowing hot air and driving you guys nuts. But anyhow, I really want to put a clubfoot RPK stock on my fixed stock Vepr. And I haven't decided up front if I'm going to do the TDI arms, because I have my side folder right now that has a TDI arms handguard on it, and a cheese grater not dust cover, gas tube cover on it, with a really badass mint, gorgeously figured Russian brown Bakelite grip, and an original Russian sling, and a couple other little goodies. It's got a night brake on it, which is not a good brake. I just bought it to experiment with when I was figuring out what muzzle brakes work best on these guns. And I don't know, I did all that research and all that time, and I got my solution, what I know is the best muzzle brake on an AK in 7.62. And I don't think I ever put it out there. I did one video, and it's titled "The Best AK Muzzle Brake," but I didn't show any of all the testing and all the other brakes I had went through to find the one that I really liked. And it was because I didn't believe anybody out there that had videos on it. Even some that did extensive testing, I had to do it myself. And you guys hear me talk about it from time to time. And I tell you guys, but you probably goes in one ear and out the other, and you probably don't remember. If one of you remembers what brake I tout for an AK here, throw it up there. I'd be interested to see how many of you actually listen to me. I'll give you a few minutes, and then we'll come back to it, and I'll tell you what it is. Let's see if anybody put it down there. Oh, price AK-74U handguards lately? $360 if you're lucky. That's what I'm telling you. That's what I'm telling you guys. It's nuts. Good guess, because I do love my Bulgarian 4-piece, but only on my Sam 7K. I don't believe in putting those guns on guns that on rifle length barrel guns. Yes, those things were meant to get rid of flash, but they were also meant to boost the pressure in the gun for guns that didn't have long enough barrels to produce enough pressure. very similar to a crink brake. The 4-piece is the same thing. Slant brake, another good guess. Another good guess, because I do tout the slant brake. Guys, for the money, if you're tighter than a gnat's ass as far as money goes, you're hard pressed to beat a slant brake. It does what it's meant to do. And some of them even have 2 notches to help you lefties out. Did you know that? Do you ever see the 2 notches? Do you guys know that one is for one notch is for a right-handed shooter, one is for a left-handed shooter? Look at the notches and there we go. MZ was listening. BD2. The Meridian Defense BD2 muzzle brake for the money is the best aftermarket muzzle brake on the planet. Watch my NPAP videos. Watch my Vepper fixed stock video. What else do I have it on over? NPAP, that one. What's that gun there? I got it on a Bulgarian. What gun is that one? Oh, that's my NPAP. Yeah, I've got 3 or 4 of them. Oh, I got it on a Yugo underfolder. For the money, which I don't know what they're going for now. I haven't priced them in 6 months, a year. But they were always $56, something like that. And you'd be hard pressed. Watch my Yugo videos with the BD2 or the Vepper. The gun doesn't move in 7.62. I'm not talking a 5.45 or a 5.56 gun. I'm talking a 7.62 30 caliber weapon. And that gun don't move. It's rock solid. It stays right where it is. There's no climb. There's nothing to the right, nothing to the left, no dust signature if you're prone. It's a great break for that kind of money. Price some of these things, man. It's crazy what some of these breaks go for. But if you want to do a break, throw one of those on there. But if you don't have the $50-$60 or you think it can be spent elsewhere better on your project, whatever you're doing, put a slant brake on it. They're practically free still, right? Slant brakes haven't gone up, have they? I remember literally I have like 2 handfuls, like a scoop of them. And I bought them back then. I think I don't know how many I bought, 20 of them, 30 of them. And I bet I didn't pay over $30 for them, maybe less. You know, I don't think they're big money anymore. There's reproductions and then there's the good ones, you know. I don't care what you get, a Romanian, a Russian, a Yugoslavian, they're all good. They're all good brakes. Just make sure they fit, you know, well, it's the same pitch, I guess. But there's slight differences to the inside. Some are scalloped out. There can be slight difference on the ends too. Some will not have the other notch for a left-handed shooter. The American ones will be a little different every time. But there's some that are hair better than others. I've never back tested them because it's probably so minuscule you can't even tell. But I know they didn't machine something out for their health, right? They did. These plants, these communist plants, they're not doing anything extra if it's not benefiting, giving them a significant benefit or at least something. And some have a little dished out section in them, different stuff. You'll see. Start comparing them, and you'll see. At first, you don't think, oh, it's slant brake. It wasn't until I started using takeoff parts on different guns that I was building or doing that all of a sudden I noticed, well, wait a second. I'd have 2 of them on the bench, and I'm like, huh, which one came off that one? Uh-oh. And then you got to start researching. Well, go back 20 years and try and find some information out there that tells you the difference between a Romanian slant brake and a Yugoslavian slant brake and a Russian slant brake and on and on. It just ain't out there. You could compare it to pictures, and you could go to your local shop and look at what was on a Wasser versus this. And some were American made to meet 922R. So you got to be careful. You don't even know what's what. Now you can usually tell by the finish, but yeah, start checking it out. And if one of you guys notices a difference between some as far as how it shoots or how it works, let us know. I'd be interested. That'd be kind of cool to see if there is actually a difference. I've never noticed one, but then again, I was never looking for it. I was just looking for the overall effect. But if you notice a slight difference, or maybe you're videoing it and you see one gun or the gun doing this, and then you change it to a different slant break from a different country, and all of a sudden it's not doing anything. That'd be cool to know. Maybe I'll try that next time we go. I'll just throw some on there. But if you guys want some info on some other breaks I've tested, I've done a bunch. Zenitko, Dragonov's, or what do you call it? Somebody just had it down. Lantec Dragon. The BD2 to BD3, the Manticore Arms Night Break, on and on and on. And I've still probably got most of them laying around here somewhere. The 4-piece flash hiders, American made versus the real Arsenal product. I've tested them all at one point or another, and I probably have most of them. Very rarely do I sell anything that I buy, but yeah, I'm gonna go to. So, what do you guys think of the Vepr with the club foot? You think I should go that route? And I'm thinking, I don't know what color I'd do it, because I'd redo it, or would it look better with a polymer club foot in the original polymer handguard? Huh? There's a thought, huh? I don't know. I'm thinking wood, though. I think it'll be cool. And unless it's really nice, I may refinish it too. So then what color do you think? Do I do the natural goldy brown, or do I do a reddish sort of thing, or God knows what? Let me know what you guys think. How would it look? Would that look cool, or are you like, no, don't do it, Chris? I think it might be cool. For those of you guys that have showed up later, and please, guys, please like and subscribe, and please give us a thumbs up there. It helps the algorithm and all that good stuff. And I always mean to do this right out of the gate, and I forget. So I'm sorry we get into it, and I got to take 30 seconds of your time to talk about this. But we go off the chat, right? We talk about what you guys want to talk about. We answer your questions here. We're going to jump in there. If you want your questions answered quicker, or if you just like the content and you want to help us out, because God knows most of our videos get demonetized. Really, the only source of income we have on this channel are these chats and super chats. So if you go down where you're going to type in your chat, just below it, you'll see a little icon there of a dollar bill. Click on that, and you can give us a super chat. It can be anywhere from 1 cent to $1 million. That would be appreciated. That would go a long way in keeping this channel going. $1 million. Yep, that would work just fine. But anywhere in between. A lot of guys like to do $7.62 or $5.54 or $5.56. Stay away from the 223. No, I'm kidding. Anything helps, guys, and we appreciate it. And it all goes back into the channel to bring you cool stuff, right? Whether it's guns or accessories, or optics, or ammo, or club memberships, or whatever. Yeah, we spend gas and all that, but that's out of my pocket. But it's got to be directly related to the channel for it to come out of funds that you guys donate, because I want it to go towards stuff you guys want to see. And it helps tremendously. We appreciate it. If you can't help right now, that's fine. We get it better than anybody else how tight things are right now. So keep watching, keep enjoying, but just remember, when you can, and if you enjoy what you see and I bring you some value, let us know by giving us a super chat. It's greatly appreciated. If you can't, just go up there and click like. Subscribe, tell your friends about it, share it on your social media. We'd appreciate it all. That's enough said. Boom. I don't do Patreon. I don't do any of that. This is our only source. Legit. Let's see. So we were talking early on, and I had said MZ got back in here first. Ross is here. Ross is an awesome dude. Hattori Hanzo's in here. Yeah, he said Jared is awesome. I asked you guys, go over to the Guns and Gadgets channel. Sounds like it's gun channel, right? He's going to show you guns and gadgets. Nope, it's a Second Amendment channel, but it's not a boring one. He gives you 5-minute, 3-minute, 6-minute videos on what's happening in the Second Amendment land. State and federal, all different states. He'll cover your state. You'll find out. He puts out 2, 3, 4 videos a day about all kinds of stuff coming down, and you need to stay informed. A lot of guys don't even know what's going on in their state, let alone. So a lot of you guys don't know this assault weapon ban is going to be coming this next week. They're going to try and get it through the Senate. It's already through the House. They got 2 weeks. If they don't get it through, it gets thrown out because the session's over and it's got to start over again in the House next year. And it ain't going to pass the House because we got the House now, hopefully. So it's coming. And Biden, he swears he's going to do it. I am going to make a difference and put an assault weapon ban. And even his press secretary came out and said she backed it. Who gives a shit what you think? You're nobody. You're a press secretary. You're just out there doing his bidding. But yeah, they're going to try and ram it through. And I got a feeling, guys, I got a feeling it's going to pass. Now, with the Supreme Court and the ruling, will it get shot down? I believe wholeheartedly yes. But that could take, it could go quick and the Supreme Court could jump in and boom, get it thrown out. Or it could take a decade. And we don't even know. Would he grandfather stuff he got in? Or would he just say, no, got to turn it in by this date? Boom. What are you going to do then? Got to start thinking about it, right? Who knows? Who knows what they'll do? But yeah, Jared is his name. Guns and Gadgets channel. Awesome channel. Ex-police officer. I believe he got hurt on duty or something, so he started this as a way to bring money into his family while he was either off. Maybe he got hurt or something on the job. But he's done extremely well. It's an awesome channel. You'll see some cool people on there. He goes to all kinds of stuff, and you'll learn a lot of cool stuff that will keep you informed in short order without being bored. Then there's John Crump, too. 2A EDU talks about him. Got a great channel. Check out his channel. All 2A over there with a lot of funny twists on his channel. Jared's got a couple kids he's supporting and his wife. And he also owns part of, I want to say this right, because one company, no bueno, the other one good, the other one bueno. There's Black Rifle Coffee, and then there's Blackout Coffee. And he owns part of Blackout Coffee out of Florida. They're the good guys. The other one, not so much. There were some issues you guys have heard of. But he owns part of that company. And you can buy his coffee and help him out. It's good coffee, too. At least I've heard. I shouldn't say that because I have not tried it. Maybe he'll send me a bag for the shout out. But he asked, he's shooting for 1 million subscribers. He hit his 500,000 mark when he did this last time in short order. He'll hit 1 million. But we need you guys to go over there and subscribe to it. Help him out. I would love, imagine that. And here's why. Not because Jared's, I don't know Jared. I never met him. I just know from his videos and from other YouTuber friends. He's a great dude. But imagine a 2A channel, a Second Amendment channel that doesn't talk about gun reviews or all the other stuff, just 2A, hits 1 million subscribers. What would that say to YouTube? What would that say to all of the gun grabbers and all these elected officials when a little bitty one-man show Second Amendment channel out of Massachusetts hits 1 million subscribers? Maybe they don't think anything. Maybe it's like everything else. They don't care what you think. But maybe it would say, hey, maybe we do need to start backing off on this, because if this little guy can get 1 million subscribers, do you know what that is? Guys, look at me. I'm pushing 7,000. We flew to 1,000. It took a little bit. It got to 500 and then it flew 1,000 and then, man, 2,000, 3,000, 4,000. We hit 5,000 like nothing in like a year. In the last 2 years, it's been a struggle to get to 7,000. We've sat between 6 and 7 for a year now. And that's YouTube's antics. I can see where it cut off. They stopped everything. It's complicated. I'm not going to bore you with analytics, but you can see where they shut the faucet off. It's not our doing or anything we changed. It's what they did. So we're about to hit 7,000. So if some of you guys aren't subscribed, please jump in and subscribe and then click that bell so you get notifications when this live stream's coming. You'll get notified. Bing! Oh, Chris is going live, man. Let's go check it out. Please tell your friends to subscribe. Help me hit 7,000. I'm just in my head, I'm thinking once we hit that, maybe it'll take off again, because it did that at first. You know, you'd hit a certain level and boom. Well, we hit a certain level and it just stopped. I think they try to take your morale down. I really do. Because there's been times when I thought about, why am I doing this? I lose money on it, lots of money. Lots. It used to be fun, and for a long time it hasn't been fun because you don't see the reward coming back, and you don't see subscribers, people watching this. It's great. I love to see you guys enjoy yourselves. So go in there and subscribe if you have. Paul at Legally Armed America is another great channel. Yes, he is. That's a good one. Subscribe there. Crump's awesome. There's a lot of good ones, but Jared I love because they're short, concise, to the point, and you learn something. Look, I start talking about it and everybody starts dropping out of here. Tori, some people are too paranoid. They know who we are and what we have. Yes, they do. Don't think for 1 minute that they don't know who has what and how much of it and where they are and all that other stuff. Guys will try to, screen names or put different towns or different stuff, thinking they're hiding things. Guys, if you don't know enough about computers, you should at least know that there's all kinds of stuff out there that they're trying. They know who you are, where you are, what you have. They know what you bought. They have a registry. They have one. It's been proven. There's billions of us on that registry. Billions of gun purchases, all right back to you with your name, your address, your social security number, everything. They know what you got. So don't think that somehow you're not going to be found out because you joined YouTube and you watched a gun video. Please, they know already. It's too late. It's too late. You have your government tracking device on you right now. So you're watching this on your government tracking device. So come on, get real.